There is a magnetic force in mystery that the average man will never understand. Most people are so eager to be seen, so desperate to be understood, that they give everything away. Plans, ambitions, next moves, inner thoughts, even their insecurities. But the man who knows how to move in silence, who holds his cards close to his chest, who keeps his business in the shadows until the work is done, he becomes a mystery. And what people cannot figure out, they begin to admire, fear, or obsess over. You do not need to be loud to be legendary. You must only become unpredictable. The most powerful men in history did not broadcast their thoughts. They used silence as a weapon, secrecy as a shield, and mystery as a magnet. When people don't know what drives you, they cannot control you. When they cannot define you, they cannot confine you. When they cannot read your next move, they cannot prepare to stop you. Mystery is a psychological edge in a world addicted to exposure. While others are explaining, justifying, and narrating their every step, you move like fog. Quiet, untouchable, hard to grasp, and impossible to contain. That is real power. Every time you reveal your strategy, you dilute your force. You make yourself smaller in the minds of others. But when you keep people guessing, their minds race trying to figure you out. Their curiosity becomes your leverage. They begin to project greatness onto you simply because they don't know where you're going, how far you'll go, or what you're capable of. Silence makes them imagine the worst or the best, and both work in your favor. In warfare, mystery causes hesitation. In business, it breeds curiosity. In life, it makes people lean in. The unknown commands attention. Do not make the mistake of thinking you must be known to be powerful. The opposite is true. The more mysterious you are, the more power you hold. The crowd chases what it can't predict. The world respects what it cannot penetrate. And the moment you expose every detail of your plan, you give your opponents ammunition. You give the doubters something to question. You give the envious something to attack. But when you move in silence, you are untouchable because there is nothing for them to grab. Mystery doesn't mean isolation. It means intentional privacy. It means you're building without an audience, growing without applause, and sharpening your edge without outside interference. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to explain your grind, your late nights, your future plays. Your silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. The lion doesn't roar while hunting. The eagle doesn't announce when it takes flight. They move with the dignity of creatures who already know their power and have no need to prove it. You must be the same. People will try to get you to talk. They will prod, question, flatter, and pry. Don't fall for it. When you're silent, they'll assume you're hiding something. Good. Let them wonder. Their assumptions are none of your concern. Mystery is not for their comfort. It is for your advantage. If they cannot figure you out, they cannot copy you. If they cannot track your progress, they cannot measure your success. If they cannot see the full picture, they cannot predict the end. There is strength in mystery that no amount of talking will ever give you. When you master the art of being present without being predictable, visible without being explainable, ambitious without being boastful, then you begin to operate on a different level. The magnetic man doesn't pull people in with noise. He pulls them in with the invisible force of purpose, hidden behind silence. Be sharp, be quiet, be relentless. But above all, never let them read your blueprint. Let them see the castle once it's built, but never hand them the bricks. You said there is a strange and almost mystical power that grows in silence. In the stillness of your plans, your dreams, and your vision, something rare begins to form, momentum. The individual who can discipline their tongue, who can resist the urge to declare every step, every move, every strategy, is the one who builds unstoppable force. Not because they are hiding from the world, but because they are focused on something higher than the world's attention. Result. Never tell people what you do. Let them see it when it's finished. The carpenter doesn't describe every stroke of the hammer. He reveals the finished home. The author doesn't recite each paragraph to strangers. He hands them the book. The farmer doesn't explain how he planted the seed. He lets the harvest speak. The only reason men announce their plans prematurely is because they seek approval before they've earned results. And approval is a dangerous addiction. It becomes a substitute for progress. You begin to chase applause instead of achievement. The moment you tell the world what you're doing, you've handed it a weapon, one it can use to distract you, to discourage you, or to defeat you. There is no virtue in broadcasting unfinished work. In fact, the more you talk, the less you do. And the less you do, the more you need to talk. That is the trap. The world is full of people who talk about what they're going to do, and it is nearly empty of those who silently execute until the world has no choice but to take notice. Your dreams were not given to the crowd. They were given to you. Guard them. Protect them. Water them in silence. Shield them from the winds of opinion. Because the more private your process, the more powerful your product. And yet, the modern man believes that to be visible is to be valuable. This is a lie. Visibility is often the disguise of emptiness. The truly powerful do not speak of their strength. They live it. They do not share their blueprints. They build them. They do not announce their targets. They hit them. There is no law that says you must explain yourself to the world. But there is a principle that says, if you wish to create something exceptional, you must preserve your energy for the task, not for the telling. Understand this. Your work is the loudest voice you will ever have. It echoes across time. It outlives your words. It does not need validation, explanation, or interpretation. Results are universal. They silence critics, convert doubters, and inspire believers. Every hour you spend talking about what you're building is an hour not spent building it. Talk divides attention. Action consolidates it. Talking invites resistance. Action generates momentum. You must choose which side of the equation you wish to live on. Those who truly rise in this world know that power comes not from being loud, but from being clear, and clarity lives in silence. While others chase attention, you must chase execution. While others narrate their journey, you must take the next step. One day they will ask how you did it, and you will smile, because by then it will be too late for them to stop you. Never tell people what you do, not because you are afraid, but because you are focused. And the focused man always wins. The moment you open your mouth about your vision, you invite the opinions of those who have no business shaping your destiny. Talk is not just air, it's a signal. And when you speak your plans aloud, you signal to the world that you are in motion. But not everyone wants to see you move. Not everyone claps when you climb. Most are silently hoping you'll stay where you are because your progress threatens their comfort. And so, when you reveal your intention, you activate their resistance. Every time you tell someone what you're working on, you awaken something in them. Sometimes it's doubt, sometimes envy, often it's fear. Not fear of your failure, but fear of your success. Because if you rise, they must confront their own stagnation. If you grow, they must answer for their excuses. People do not attack what they do not notice. But once you begin speaking, you draw attention, and attention is a double-edged sword. It brings both admiration and opposition. It invites energy toward you, and not all of it is good. The greatest obstacles in life are rarely the physical ones. They are the psychological battles triggered by unnecessary exposure. The more people you inform, the more doubt you must defend against. And the worst part, it's not even the loud critics who cause the most damage. It's the quiet seed of uncertainty planted by a friend who means well, or the offhand comment from someone who has never built anything but thinks they know everything. These are the invisible assassins of ambition, and they only appear after you speak. There is a certain power in building under the radar. When no one knows what you're working on, they can't discourage you. They can't interrupt you. They can't insert themselves into a process they don't see. But once you start announcing your plans, people feel entitled to give you advice, feedback, and caution, all based on their limitations, not your potential. And slowly, their voices become a chorus in your head. You begin to hear them while you're working. You second-guess yourself. You hesitate. That hesitation becomes delay. That delay becomes doubt. And doubt is the first step toward failure. The wise man keeps his mouth shut until the foundation is laid. He doesn't ask for directions from people who've never been where he's going. He doesn't leak energy through explanation. He understands that silence is more than golden. It is a defense system. It protects his focus, his fire, his vision. It shields him from the noise of the unqualified and the uninspired. There is no honor in explaining your journey to people who aren't even on the path. Talking is cheap, but it costs you everything. It costs time. It costs momentum. It costs mental energy. The ones who build greatness are too busy doing the work to talk about it. And when they do speak, it's only after the work is done, when no one can argue with the outcome. Results make the loudest statement, and results are the only argument that can't be dismissed, but they only come to those who protect the process. If you wish to succeed, protect your dream like a secret formula, not because it's fragile, but because it's powerful, and power in the wrong environment attracts enemies. The world doesn't need to know what you're doing. It only needs to see what you've done. That is the mark of the master. That is the method of the man who wins. He moves quietly, not because he fears judgment, but because he understands the weight of opposition. And he refuses to waste time fighting battles he never had to invite. Let them wonder what you're up to. Let them guess. Let them doubt. Let them talk. But you, stay silent. Stay locked in. Stay building. Because in the end, only one thing silences opposition: victory. You. The man who chases validation will never catch mastery. The two do not live on the same road. One demands silence, solitude, and sustained effort. The other begs for applause, attention, and approval. And you cannot walk both paths. Every time you explain what you're building, every time you post about your hustle, every time you seek praise for progress not yet completed, you shift your energy from creation to convincing, and convincing others is a full-time job that pays nothing. Mastery is a sacred pursuit. It calls for deep focus, unbroken concentration, and an internal fire that cannot be fueled by applause. Applause is short-term. It fades as quickly as it comes, but mastery is permanent. It leaves a legacy. The moment you start doing something just to be seen, you've already left the path of greatness, because greatness is not built in the spotlight. It is built in the dark, in the lonely hours, in the space where no one is watching and no one is clapping. The truth is this: the need to be seen is a distraction, and the man who needs to be seen is no longer focused. He is performing. He is not building for impact. He is building for attention. And attention is the drug that kills more dreams than failure ever could. The performer grows tired. He becomes dependent on the reaction of the crowd. If they cheer, he continues. If they don't, he quits. But the master moves regardless. He needs no hand claps, no likes, no praise. His reward is in the work. His motivation comes from the mission, not the moment. If you truly want to rise, you must learn to disconnect from the need to explain yourself. You don't owe the world a progress report. Your future does not require public understanding. Focus is not loud, it is locked in. It doesn't look impressive from the outside. It doesn't broadcast itself, but it moves mountains. The man who learns to focus completely without distraction, without needing to announce every move, becomes dangerous because nothing can stop him. Not opinions, not setbacks, not silence, especially not silence, because that's where he was born. The moment you stop needing permission to work is the moment you begin to master the work. The man who needs constant confirmation will never reach the depth of his potential because every time he checks in with others, he loses time, loses power, loses rhythm. And mastery is rhythm. It is momentum. It is stacking one quiet, focused hour on top of another until the world must take notice, not because you demanded their attention, but because you earned their respect. There is a discipline that most people will never understand. The discipline of doing the work without telling anyone. It takes strength to grind without recognition. It takes belief to move forward without applause. It takes vision to see results before they're visible. But this is what separates the imitators from the initiators. The world is full of people trying to look successful, but only a few are willing to be invisible long enough to actually become it. Validation is noise. Focus is power. You must choose, because the man who tries to keep both will lose both. He will spend his life explaining instead of executing. And in the end, the only thing that speaks is results. You cannot fake skill. You cannot fake mastery. You cannot fake the fire that comes from doing the work every single day, whether anyone is watching or not. So let them chase, clap. Let them talk. Let them show. You build in silence, build with purpose, build with obsession, and one day the same people who doubted you, the same ones you stopped explaining yourself to, will ask how you did it, and you won't need to say a word, because mastery speaks for. Its power does not come from noise. It does not come from telling the world what you plan to do. It comes from the quiet, focused, relentless execution of purpose behind closed doors. The man who understands this principle becomes unstoppable because he no longer wastes his force trying to impress the world with his intentions. He saves every ounce of it for his actions. Talk is a leakage of power. The more you speak, the more energy escapes. But silence, real, deliberate, disciplined silence, stores power like a coiled spring. It builds pressure. It builds intensity. It builds fire. Most men speak because they are uncertain. They talk through their plans because deep down they are looking for reassurance. They seek the nod of approval, the encouragement of others, the permission to believe in themselves. But that is not how power is cultivated. Power does not ask for permission. It does not beg to be seen. It does not announce itself. It develops in solitude, in the deep chambers of disciplined thought and focused action, where there is no need for validation because the vision is already clear. If you wish to build something that lasts, something that towers above the average, then you must first learn to be still. Not passive, not idle, but internally still. A storm on the outside, a calm at the center. The greatest builders, the greatest minds, the greatest leaders have all known this secret. Say little, do much. Speak Speak only when the work is complete, and even then let the work speak for you. There is a power in understatement that no amount of loudness can match. The silent man is underestimated. He is overlooked, but that is his strength. He advances without resistance, because no one sees him coming. You must understand that silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It is positioning. It is how the wise conserve their power until the moment of execution. A man who tells everyone what he's doing is already losing ground. He becomes a target. He invites opinions, criticisms, and doubts, most of which are reflections of the speaker's own fears, not the reality of your potential. But the man who moves quietly cannot be interfered with. He has no noise around him, only forward motion. In the quiet, you discover who you are. You develop the strength to walk alone. You refine your vision until it becomes unshakable. You train your mind to ignore distractions and focus only on the mission. And when the world finally sees what you built, it will seem like it appeared overnight. But you will know better. You will know it was the years of silence, of patience, of unseen effort that made it possible. There is also a mystery in silence that commands respect. When a man does not explain himself, others are forced to watch him. They begin to wonder. They begin to question. Curiosity becomes respect, and respect becomes influence. But none of this can happen if you reveal your cards too early. Keep your plans sacred. Keep your process private. Let your results be your voice. Because the truth is, when you are truly working at a high level, you do not have time to explain yourself. The mission is too big. The calling is too strong. The focus is too deep. Let others waste their energy talking. Let them post and boast and seek approval. You withdraw. Withdraw into your craft, into your purpose, into your fire. Build quietly. Move strategically. And when the time is right, when the work is undeniable, the same world that ignored your silence will be forced to applaud your success. Not because you demanded their attention, but because you earned their respect. That is how true power is built, in silence. And in silence, it becomes unstoppable.